This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
There are toys, and then there are freak-out-worthy toys. Toys that get big reactions like,
OMG, no way!
Or,
best present ever!
Or,
it's what I've always wanted.
For those toys, you need Walmart. They've got exclusives from major brands like Disney, Barbie, and Adventure Force that you can't find anywhere else. Toys that make kids jump for joy.
Thank you!
And make you a hero for giving them. Shop hundreds of exclusive toys.
Yes!
Welcome to your Walmart.
We're back on the game. Mitch Fortner, Troy Coverdale, and AJ Shaw. It is the game after work. You think Dylan Raiola has a younger brother that Taylor Swift would pretend to like? That's the real cosplay.
I am convinced she has ruined Travis Kelce.
Oh, stop it.
Because Kels has had a slow start to the season?
He's not playing good right now. I think he's cooked.
Dude is 30 what?
35, I think now.
So, yeah, welcome to the NFL.
Let's see. Let's look it up here real quick. Ravens, 3 catches, 34 yards. 1 catch, 5 yards on Sunday against the Bengals.
How much of that is the coverage? How much of that is?
No, I think AJ's right. He's 34.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm 34 as well.
So if you were playing football, you'd be old.
I'd be on my way out, probably at this point. Yeah, absolutely. It's time to get out. Made my money. Let's go get married.
Right.
Nope, the NFL does not want that to happen.
No.
The NFL does not want Travis Kelce on his way out.
The NFL sponsors do not want Travis Kelce on his way out.
I mean, gosh, did the NFL do anything to get Kansas City those W's? I mean, come on, that pass interference, please.
Right.
Actually, I honestly thought probably pass interference. I should have pulled this up earlier. Maybe I'll probably try to find it during the break. But there are some stats out there about how many times Kansas City, I'll air quote here, was saved by a penalty flag late in the game that led to them going to score some game-winning points. I'll have to go try to find that a little bit later because I did a Google search earlier, and I was like, well, this is interesting. But I want to make sure I have the numbers right. But anyway, the game after work continues with hour number 2. We'll hear from Avery Johnson a little bit later on. Ask us anything, of course. We'll wrap up the show. We got Royals baseball. May get Troy's take on what's going on with the Royals lately as they have game 2 against the Tigers tonight as they continue their final homestand of the regular season. And they blew it last night. Blew it to the Tigers. They should have won. They blow it. But they still got a decent lead in the wild card standings. They're not going to win the Central. It's not going to happen. They're done. Just not enough left in the tank to go win the Central, but they can make a wild card.
And Cleveland is taking care of their business along the way as well. But in the process, they're helping out the Royals at least keep solidifying their spot in the middle of the pack.
Troy, did you get to watch a lot of college football this weekend with having Saturday, Sunday off?
Yeah, I watched my share of it on Saturday.
Watched a decent amount as well. Went up to Morganville, had the After Harvest Festival, so went up to that. So I didn't get to really watch any of the games at night, but I don't know if there was really a whole lot that I was interested in watching other than TCU, UCF. But Big 12 play this Saturday starts for K-State at BYU. Haven't played there in generations. But that's where they start Big 12 play against the BYU Cougars. Both teams are 3-0. As I said yesterday, BYU going to be wearing all whites, which is something they have not worn since the mid-'90s. And K-State's going to be wearing their home uniforms at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, which is super weird. I can't recall a time where K-State wore their home uniforms on the road. If it happened, I was pretty young because I don't remember.
I'm trying to think because I'm not remembering it off the top of my head. If the Cotton Bowl matchup had us in our purples and them in their whites.
No, I think BYU was the
in
home
the
team.
blues. Okay.
Was the home team that game. I think. Trying to picture Kevin Lockett. Was he in the road or was he in the home? I didn't watch the game live, never really seen any highlights of it.
Okay.
You tell me.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought this would be a good time now with Big 12 play here for K-State to look at K-State's Big 12 opponents. We've had our idea of what K-State would face this season in Big 12 play before the season started. How has those opinions changed? Are their stocks going up? Are their stocks going down? Are they remaining the same? I have a breakdown of all these teams other than BYU. I'm going to save that for a little bit later on this week, of course. We're going to have Mitch Harper on. He covers the BYU Cougars on. We've had him on before, so we'll discuss BYU later this week. But I am up on BYU. Let's go to Oklahoma State next. I'm actually slightly down on Oklahoma State, and that might be the big surprise of this whole segment that I put together because they are 3-0. They hung on in overtime to cover and beat Arkansas at Boone Pickens. Took care of business against Tulsa. Here's the deal, though. I do have a couple of concerns, and it really has to do with Ollie Gordon. This is a extremely veteran offensive line that Oklahoma State has, and maybe this has just been a tactic for opposing defenses to not allow Ollie Gordon to run all over the yard. But he's still a Heisman Trophy finalist, right?
Nominee,
got a ton of votes.
or at least has been mentioned.
I couldn't remember if he was a finalist or not, but he was the best running back in college football last year.
True.
Right now, he's averaging 72 yards per game, but that's compared to 124 a year ago. They just haven't been able to run the football quite well yet. But they still have Alan Bowman. He's thrown around the yard a little bit. He hasn't been too bad. That veteran offensive line hasn't given up a sack yet. The defense has been okay. And that's another part of this team that I'm like, that's not where the hype, it's not meeting the hype.
Right.
Especially with the passing defense. I think Oklahoma State right now has the worst passing defense in the Big 12. And I wasn't expecting that. That has taken a pretty big step back.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm right now, even though they're 3-0, it'll still be a good game against Utah. It's a good thing for Oklahoma State they're hosting that game. If you're going to Salt Lake City, that's I'm not going Oklahoma State, but I'm probably actually still feeling, with Cam Rising playing, I would probably still go Utah to win that game in Boone Pickens.
Right.
You have Colorado coming up on October 12th. They're 2-1. You tell me first, actually, Troy. Are they higher for you? Has their stock dropped a little bit? Is it the same? How do you feel about Colorado? Because this was one of the easiest ones for me to decide.
For me, they've remained the same in that I did not hold out a lot of expectation for them to succeed this year. The Nebraska game is a prime example of why I don't think that they're going to be all that good. They did perform well this past Saturday at Colorado State, but let's be perfectly honest, that is a case where they just needed to turn the horses loose and be able to outdo what the Rams had. For all of the big talk that Colorado State made going into that matchup. And I still don't feel like that Colorado State is anywhere near where it needs to be even to challenge for their conference title.
Yep, I'm with you. I'm the exact same on Colorado. Nothing has changed for me. They beat North Dakota State. That felt like a 50-50 game. It was pretty close to that.
Yep.
Lost to Nebraska, figured, and they took care of business against Colorado State. But I don't think Colorado State's that good.
No.
I mean, good for the Rams to get that game there at home, but that'd be in the first time in like 27 years.
And now you don't have it again in the series at all until 29.
Yeah,
they
so
will not play
out.
again until 29. What a shame.
Shadur Sanders can still throw the football. Colorado cannot run the football.
No.
Shadur has been sacked 7 times. Travis Hunter's a dude. They have no discipline. They are the second most penalized team in the Big 12. Actually, the highest is Arizona. And they got penalized 9 times against K-State. Deion Sanders every week is facing some sort of criticism. That hasn't changed.
Yeah, it's a matter of you can take advantage of their mistakes if you are just the more steady team.
One standout, though, for me against Colorado State. So I mentioned that they struggled to run the football. That's not a shocker. They had a true freshman play quite
Yes.
well in Michael Welch.
Yes.
Against Colorado State, where he had 65 yards. He ran 7 yards per carry. It was pretty good.
Most of that was good early.
Yeah.
For him, yes.
Well, actually, I think didn't Colorado State jump up to a 3-0 lead, and Colorado did not score till the second quarter?
Yeah.
So a little bit of a slow start for the offense against a not-so-good Rams team. After that, you have a road trip at West Virginia. The Mountaineers, to me, have been the biggest disappointment. I guess I was in the minority for a reason. I was wrong here, so far at least. West Virginia 1-2. They had a tough non-con. They really did. And their losses were to Power 4 programs. Pitt, comeback win after West Virginia led by 10 in the fourth quarter. And then the Mountaineers just really never showed up against Penn State. Yeah, I'm disappointed with West Virginia this season. It's the first time since 2003 that the Mountaineers had a losing record in non-conference. I thought running the football would just be their absolute bread and butter. Really tough to stop with a good offensive line. They had a three-headed monster run the football. They've been good, not great. Good at best. The biggest issue for their defense is they cannot get any takeaways. They're having struggles just stopping teams, and they cannot make a big play. That's what they're really lacking right now, is making the big play.
I mean, for crying out loud, they lost to a Pat Narduzzi-coached Pitt team.
A team that should have lost to Cincinnati.
Yes. Yeah.
And Cincinnati blew that one.
Yes.
So Pitt now has 2 comeback wins. I think they're undefeated. And they're probably a super overrated 3-0 team right now.
Good grief.
All right. Who's next? KU. Well, we just talked about them like crazy in the first hour for, 20 minutes or so. You can imagine, down on KU right now. Honestly, if I were to do a power ranking, which would probably be fun, I know the KSO guys do this every week. If I were to do a power ranking, KU would be the second worst team in the Big 12 right now for me. The worst is Houston. And Houston and I'll get to them here in a little bit. I'll explain why. As a matter of fact, that's the next game. But KU has some major offensive issues right now. And Jalen Daniels is issue number 1. I want to talk a little bit more about that. Let's wait till the next segment because we're going to bring up Avery Johnson.
Okay.
Who you knew here in the Sunflower State. Those two are going to be compared as the season goes along. Let's do a comparison in the next segment. Okay, so Houston is a road trip on November 2nd. Houston is the worst team in the Big 12 right now, in my opinion. They're 1-2, even though they gave Oklahoma some fits. I think Oklahoma, they had their moments against Tulane, especially in that first half, but I don't think Oklahoma can run the ball. That running offense isn't looking too good right now.
No, it's not.
Houston, though, their story is already set for this season. According to my count, they have lost 10 players this season in the injuries. 6 of them would have been in the 2 deep. So they're really banged up. And that's not even counting who they're missing right now for the first 3 games of the season. They are super banged up. And by the way, Donovan Smith has been sacked 11 times already this year. They're not protecting the quarterback. No. The only thing Houston has going for them right now is they've done a pretty decent job on defense, but now they're about to face a pretty tough conference that has a lot of good offenses. So I think that'll be, those numbers are going to drop, but right now they're 3rd in total defense, but they just don't have right now the offense to go compete with anybody. So Houston right now is the worst team in the Big 12, in my opinion. 3 games left. Arizona State at home, November 16th. Pitchforks up on those folks. 3-0. They had to grind through that Texas State game, which was just a weird Thursday on the road, weird non-conference game. Texas State is actually one of those teams to be a favorite for the Sun Belt and to be the Group of 5 representative in the college football playoff. But they lost, so they're probably not going to now.
Right.
But They're running the ball really well. Cam Skattebo is probably the most underrated player in the Big 12 right now. He is running the ball very well. He runs it a lot. 23 carries a game, a $124 contest. Sam Leavitt throwing the ball, not too bad. They really got a good offensive rhythm going. They dominate time of possession. The defense gets off the field. They are, both sides of the ball, doing a great job. And they force the most turnovers. So, I mean, both sides of the ball. Arizona State is a big surprise.
Yes.
I think Arizona State fans thought, all right, second year, Kenny Dillingham, still continuing to rebuild because it's been bad there for a while. It's maybe past that. They're off to a really solid start. Now they have Texas Tech. That'll be a fun one. Cincinnati here on the 24th of November. You know what? I'm actually up on Cincinnati. Their stock is up for me despite being 2-1. They lost to Pitt. They should maybe be 3-0 right now. They have a win over Miami, Ohio, whatever. But I think quarterback Brendan Sorsby has been better than expected.
I mean, let's give credit where credit is due. They have a win over a MAC team, which is better than some teams than Notre Dame.
Hey, now. I like that one.
Thank you.
Yes, Cincinnati beat a MAC team. Notre Dame did not. That's actually a rivalry game for Cincinnati. Miami of Ohio.
Yeah.
But anyway, Cincinnati, they're getting pressure quarterback on defense. They have 8 sacks this year. The only issue is second worst defensive efficiency. They're not good against the pass. They're getting chewed up in the passing game. If it wasn't for that, they're probably 3-0 right now. And then finally, Iowa State, in my opinion, is their stock up? Is it down? Or is it the same? For me, it's the same. To me, Iowa State is a middle-of-the-pack team, and right now I'm going to stick with that because I'm not ready to invest too much in that win over Iowa.
No.
Impressive comeback win, and I don't want to take that away from them. But let's not get fooled like maybe some of us did 2 years ago. 2 years ago, Iowa State beat Iowa in Iowa City at Kinnick Stadium, and then Iowa State, they go undefeated in non-con, which, by the way, Iowa State 2-0 right now. They just win one game in Big 12 play. Their defense was really good.
Right.
Their offense stunk.
Yeah.
But their offense might have had more weapons 2 years ago than they do now. I mean, Xavier Hutchinson, for gosh sakes. Really good wide receiver. They just didn't have enough talent. Abu Sama, I know, has been a bit of a disappointment. I know, Iowa State fans, he should have been a Heisman Trophy candidate after that game against K-State. Well, maybe not the case now. We'll see what happens. But Iowa State's offense in 2 games is averaging 20 points a game. Defense has to do a better job of getting off the field. They're the worst team in the conference on third downs. That's not going to be a good resume if it's consistent. There's just not enough there for me to be fully invested in Iowa State yet. It's lucky for them, Farmageddon is in Ames, Iowa, and they don't have to play in Manhattan until 2027.
Oh, boy.
Let's take a timeout. When we come back, let's hear from Avery Johnson. Has Avery Johnson already surpassed Jalen Daniels? We can talk about that when we come back. You're listening to the game.
Miss part of the show?
No! God, please, no! No! No!
Really? Check it out on demand at 1350kman.com.
This is what you do when you've just found that statement handbag on eBay and you want to build an entire wardrobe around it. You start selling to keep buying. Yep, on eBay. Over that all-black everything phase? List it and buy all the color. Feeling more vintage than ever? It's out with the new and in with the pre-loved. Next thing you know, you've refreshed your wardrobe basically without spending a dime. Yeah, eBay, the place to buy and sell new, pre-loved, vintage, and rare fashion.
There are toys, and then there are freak-out-worthy toys. Toys that get big reactions like,
OMG, no way!
or,
Best present ever!
or,
It's what I've always wanted.
for those toys, you need Walmart. They've got exclusives from major brands like Disney, Barbie, and Adventure Force that you can't find anywhere else. Toys that make kids jump for joy.
Thank you.
And make you a hero for giving them. Shop hundreds of exclusive toys.
Yes!
Welcome to your Walmart.
The game continues. Mitch, Troy, and AJ. We owe you a Meet the Wildcats. We'll have to get that here in a little bit. That's with Austin Romaine, one of AJ's favorite players. Austin Romaine led us.
I love this song, by the way.
Roundabout. Yes.
It's a great song. Do you like it, Mitch?
Yeah, it's all right.
It's a great song. I like it a lot.
I can't tell you that I have it on any playlists. You know, if it comes up on the old, oh gosh, now I ruined the joke. Pandora. I mean, I don't know who uses Pandora anymore, but
no one uses Pandora anymore.
You'd be surprised,
unless it's with your SiriusXM membership.
You get Pandora with a SiriusXM member. I did not know that.
Well, they're co-owned.
Oh, okay.
SiriusXM, man, what are you doing?
I know. I'm just pointing out they're co-owned. So.
Bearing Terrestrial Radio.
I'm just noting the business note. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know how to get out of this hole now. Avery Johnson, please get us out of this. Let's hear from the K-State quarterback who just ran for his first career 100-yard rushing game against the Arizona Wildcats. 17 carries, $110, 6.5 yards per carry. His longest run was of 26 yards. And he threw for 156 and a couple of touchdowns. Pretty consistent numbers here, and I'll get to that here in just a second. But first, let's hear from Avery. This was from yesterday, a little bit of his press conference. And why is this audio not wanting to work? Oh, boy. I may need you guys here to cover for just a second because we're having some technical difficulties. Do you mind covering for just one moment?
Hey, let me just note, while we noted the classic rock of a moment ago, Starship featuring Mickey Thomas and Foghat at McCain Auditorium, giving away 4 pairs of tickets on K-Man's Morning News. We've got your registration via the text line. It's very simple. Just type in McCain on the text and send it to 785-537-1350. That'll automatically get you into the mix, and we'll give away those 4 pairs after 9 o'clock on Thursday. So what the heck, this audience may want those as well because the concert is Friday night, 7:30 at McCain Auditorium. Starship with Mickey Thomas and Foghat.
All right, I think we're good to go now. I think this is working. This was from yesterday, a part of the press conference with Avery Johnson after the win against Arizona.
That many carries, took more contact, and probably the most contact you've had in college. How'd you feel over the weekend?
Honestly, my body feels better than it did after the Tulane game, so definitely some positives there. But, I mean, I feel pretty good. Like, obviously we had to start practicing and stuff a day early because of the Friday game last week. So going into a Monday practice, my body actually feels really good.
I know you played some last year, obviously, but has the game started to progressively slow down for you as well this year?
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely feel like from week 1 to week 2 and week 2 to week 3, things are definitely – I'm starting to see a lot of things out there and know where to go with the ball. And now it's just cleaning up my feet and stuff like that and just being able to make the right decision every time. But I definitely would say things are slowing down for me.
The tight ends are currently leading the team in receiving. When you get in the red zone, are you looking for them, or is it just sort of a thing where they seem to be open all the time?
I guess they just open up, and I really think what opens it up so much is our run game and how well they do in our run game. It's like the guys that are guarding them, they have to respect how well we run the ball. And like on the touchdown I had to Lofton, like when you fake a pitch to DJ, like you have to respect that DJ could get a pitch right there and walk into the end zone. And Lofton did a pretty good job acting on that play and kind of just slipping past the guy. And on the other one, we get in 13 personnel. And I don't know how much throwing we've shown out of 13 personnel this year, so I don't think those guys were expecting it, and we get an easy walk-in touchdown. So it's definitely some scheming stuff that those guys do upstairs that they do a really good job with, and just being able to mix up looks and stuff to be able to confuse the defense, I definitely feel goes a long way in the red zone.
What's something that you're still really stressing with the rest of the offense that you guys can do better heading into Game 4?
I think the biggest thing is just getting on the same page as those wide receivers. We have a lot of decision routes, option routes, where those guys have the option to make a decision. So just being able to make sure that we're all on the same page, we're getting to our right depths on stuff, so that I can go out there and trust that, hey, this guy's going to get here. I just put the ball where I know it needs to be, where I was putting it all week at practice, and I know a guy can go make a play on it. And then for me, it's just cleaning up my footwork in the pocket and being able to make some of those throws that I made all week at practice, being able to put that on film on Saturday.
What's your initial impression of BYU defensively?
They're really talented. They're big guys, and they're really disciplined and sound. Those guys play hard, and it's going to be a different environment for us. Elevation will be up, and that stadium can get pretty loud. So we're going to have to definitely come ready to compete and ready to play.
Once again, that was Avery Johnson yesterday with the K-State media. A couple of things. Going back to the tight end thing, I remember, Troy, we did a segment on Garrett Oakley.
Yes.
And talked about how many touchdowns
yes,
I think
yes.
Garrett Oakley has. And
can I change my answer to spread that out among the tight end room?
You may not have to.
Oh,
actually,
okay.
You may need to add to it. Because right now the tight ends have 4 touchdowns.
Yes.
In 3 games. And, 3 of the 4 have been pretty easy plays. And I say easy like Avery made it look easy. There was a really easy one to Will Swanson.
You're right.
On that first touchdown against Arizona. I think maybe another one was a pretty easy one to Braden Lofton, maybe one of the touchdowns. Anyway, Avery's also thrown some pretty good balls to these tight ends.
Yes, he has.
And they're running great routes.
Absolutely.
Garrett Oakley, I think he's still out there. I think he's still playing. The ball is just not going in his direction.
Yes, exactly. I said it on the first touchdown on the opening game. I made the comment, "Oh, that's one that got sniped," meaning taken away from what would be Oakley's total. But no, it's a case where that room has a ton of talent.
I want to touch on though as well where I feel like I've seen Avery grow in these first 3 games. And I mentioned this to Tim yesterday and to Wyatt yesterday where I felt like I don't feel like I'm watching Avery and him grow over the last these first 3 games of the season. Back to the original thought of I don't feel like I've seen Avery make the same mistake twice. The interception. The guy took some heat for that one. I'm not necessarily saying from K-State fans. I think it can be said and also vice versa because of the comparisons of, all right, KU has a trusted quarterback in Jalen Daniels, his 5th year in the program. If he stays healthy, KU is a candidate for the Big 12 championship game. Avery Johnson is a true sophomore. He is now a starting quarterback. He was a shadow over Will Howard. Will Howard's gone. Will Howard left because he was not the best quarterback, and now he's at Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
But the pressure on Avery Johnson was to be good and be good right away.
Right.
That was just kind of expectations.
Right.
A few mistakes early, maybe a little bit more glaring than whatever Jalen Daniels did in his first game against a high school team in Lindenwood. I would say since then, though, you're seeing these 2 guys go in different directions. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But right now where we stand, with Avery just getting better game in and game out, better decisions, better accuracy, throwing some really good balls in tight windows.
Yep.
He had one throw to Braden Lofton there that made it 1st and goal. That was a tight window. He had to throw it perfectly, and he did so. He's doing a great job of scrambling and throwing some very accurate footballs. Yes, the wide receivers need to be involved more, but I think Avery's doing his part. The wide receivers got to catch up.
Right.
And need to be on the same page. Right now, the way it feels, and again, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but turn this up in Lawrence because Jalen Daniels has been lapped by Avery Johnson so far. And that's Jalen's fault probably because he's made some boneheaded decisions that is costing KU football games.
Which, again, gets back to the number one flaw that most people have had with Jalen Daniels over the course of his career, besides his fragility. His judgment in the moment has not been very good. He's that guy you feel like that you can flip a coin. Either it's going to be a gem of a play or it's going to be a turnover. Most times that he's trying to make that big play.
Let me clarify. When I say lapped, I'm not talking like talent.
No.
Because Jalen is incredibly talented. A great runner, a great dual-threat quarterback. I'm talking about
performance.
Maturity.
Yeah.
Performance, I think, is in there as well.
Yeah.
You know, making the right decisions and then growing from them decisions, because Jeff Grimes, their OC, he basically talked about this earlier where, you know, their issue is how do they respond from those turnovers? They don't respond well.
No, they don't.
KU is not responding well off those mistakes, and it starts with the quarterback because he's the one making those mistakes. And there's no response into, all right, let's get past this interception. Let's go get 6 on this next drive. After the 2 interceptions for KU, they had 5 more drives. Only one of them gained positive yardage. That is horrible. That is not good leadership. You're seeing Avery go in a much different direction than that as a younger quarterback with a lot less experience. His decision-making and his maturity and his performance is just at another level right now. Now, do I expect Jalen Daniels to continue to be this kind of player? Not really, no. I not at all. Because he's a really good player. He is really good. But he's just got to make the right decisions and not try to force things. And again, I don't think this is an injury thing. I don't know if an injury is in his mind or anything, or has to try to redeem himself from just missing so much time last year. If this is an injury thing and he's worried about his back or whatever, I don't think this is I'm just kind of thinking out loud here. I don't think this has anything to do with a previous injury or anything. Again, I think it's just trying to do too much because every single interception he's thrown has been a terrible decision.
Again, I go back to this is a guy who showed up at Big 12 Media Day last year wearing a video player of his highlights.
Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year or something like that, right? Preseason in 2003, or at least quarterback.
So he knows that expectation is on him, which means that you're more apt to want to make those big plays.
I mean,
and show something.
Ask the fan bases who has more trust in their quarterback right now.
Wow.
It is off the charts for Avery Johnson. There's hardly any right now for Jalen Daniels. It has just been an ugly consistency of bad turnovers. Avery's consistency, honestly, these numbers are quite interesting. It's not the highest amount of passing yards. And honestly, that's fine right now. Against UT Martin, 14 of 21 for 153. Against Tulane, 15 of 23 for 181. Against Arizona, 14 for 23 for 156. In every game, he's thrown 2 touchdowns. I'm throwing that out there. I just thought it was very interestingly consistent in the passing game with the amount of times he's throwing, 21 times, 23 times, 23 times. The completion percentage is pretty close in all the games.
Right.
The number of touchdowns. The QBR continues to rise. He just, against Arizona, he ran the ball a lot more and was really good. You will probably continue to see that open up more. And when I say open up more, just be more consistent with the number of carries. It's not going to be 3 times like it was against UT Martin. He's got to run the football.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a 3-headed monster back there. When you have all 3 in the game, that's when K-State's most dangerous. When those 3, with Dylan Edwards and DJ Giddens, which DJ, I feel like we're not talking about enough, had a bit of a quiet day against Arizona, but was still really good. That's the thing about KU. They still run the ball really well. Devin Neal is really good. They don't have Daniel Highshaw right now, so they don't have their 3-headed monster, which I think K-State's is better. But, of course, Jalen Daniels is also a really good runner. That's how they scored their touchdowns against UNLV with him running the football.
Sure.
Those were both very early on in the game. So right now, Avery Johnson is ahead of Jalen Daniels. Statistically, they're close, but with maturity and the performance, not even close. There is way more trust in Avery Johnson right now for K-State than there is for Jalen Daniels at KU. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, we owe you a Meet the Wildcats with Austin Romaine, and we have Ask Us Anything coming up as well. Royals at 6 o'clock. You're listening to The Game.
Your home for K-State sports.
Again, Freeman looking to the end zone, man open, touchdown! Unbelievable! Fingers again, and this Kansas State crowd, they are exploding!
This is The Game on News Radio, KMAN.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. With over 122 million parts, you can make sure your number one ride or die stays running smoothly. Brake kits, LED headlights, bumpers, whatever your baby needs, eBay Motors has it. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, it's guaranteed to fit your ride the first time, every time. Plus, at these prices, you're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like, to check you have the tickets in your wallet first before you drive 2 hours to the big game. Seriously, you had one job. Now the closest you'll get to the 50-yard line is parking lot D. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
All right, I'm going to have to start plugging in on the music. I need something to fire me up. We're coming around the final turn. I love Skinnerd, but maybe we can't get some Freebird or something?
Oh, come on. Spare me.
All right, we owe you a Meet the Wildcats, one of AJ's favorite players. He is, in my opinion, the most improved player on K-State so far. And that is Austin Romaine, 14 solo tackles, a couple of sacks. He had the strip sack that led to the game-winning touchdown for the Cats at Tulane a couple of Saturdays ago. Meet the Wildcats. Let's get to know Austin Romaine a little bit more. Let's meet the Wildcats with Austin Romaine. Favorite athlete growing up?
My favorite athlete was Aaron Rodgers, or still is Aaron Rodgers. I grew up a Packers fan. So,
all right, what's the music guilty pleasure? What do you listen to not around the teammates?
I listen to a lot of country music, Morgan Wallen and stuff like that.
Does pineapple go on pizza?
I've never really had pineapple on pizza, but a lot of people think it's pretty good. So
I'm not a fan. What's the most used app on the phone?
I'd probably say Spotify, listening to music.
You get the do you pay for Spotify? Or you put up with the ads?
No, my parents pay for it, so I just kind of joined the family plan.
Is there anything you're afraid of?
I'm actually afraid of snakes. I think snakes are pretty scary.
Can be old, can be newish, but do you have a favorite TV show of all time?
Favorite TV show of all time is probably All American on Netflix. I like that a lot.
You're going to break the rules of your eating habits and eating healthy. What's your cheat meal?
Cheat meal is probably going to be Canes. I'm a big Canes guy.
You have a dating red flag.
Doesn't like football.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas, because kind of whole family gets together, so it's a really good time for that.
Is there a movie that you can quote along with the movie word for word?
Step Brothers.
Do you have any bad habits?
I guess what a bad habit be like biting my nails.
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay, yeah. I bite my nails a lot.
All right, last one. Who wins the Super Bowl this year?
Green Bay Packers, baby.
All right, Austin, best of luck tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so AJ, now I got to ask you once again, is Austin Romaine still one of your favorite players after he picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl?
Absolutely not. I despise him now.
I thought so.
Gotta love that history.
Austin,
right
if you're out there listening, where'd you go wrong there, my man? Come on.
Hey, he's a Missouri kid.
Then how come he's not a St. Louis? Well, they're not in St. Louis anymore. But how's he not a Rams fan? Chiefs fan. Yeah. If he was a Chiefs fan, it'd make sense. Green Bay? Come on.
Must have been a big Jordy Nelson guy back in the day. All right, let's take our next break. Let's wrap it up with Ask Us Anything coming up next.
You're in the game on News Radio KMAN.
All right, I'm going to have to start plugging in on the music. I need something to fire me up. We're coming around the final turn. I love Skinnerd, but maybe we can't get some Freebird or something?
Oh, come on. Spare me.
All right, we owe you a Meet the Wildcats, one of AJ's favorite players. He is, in my opinion, the most improved player on K-State so far, and that is Austin Romaine. 14 solo tackles, a couple of sacks. He had the strip sack that led to the game-winning touchdown for the Cats at Tulane a couple of Saturdays ago. Meet the Wildcats. Let's get to know Austin Romaine a little bit more. Let's meet the Wildcats with Austin Romaine. Favorite athlete growing up?
My favorite athlete was Aaron Rodgers, or still is Aaron Rodgers. I grew up a Packers fan, so.
All right, what's the music guilty pleasure? What do you listen to not around the teammates?
I listen to a lot of country music, Morgan Wallen and stuff like that.
Does pineapple go on pizza?
I've never really had pineapple on pizza, but a lot of people think it's pretty good. So
I'm not a fan. What's the most used app on the phone?
I'd probably say Spotify, listening to music.
You get the, do you pay for Spotify? Do you put up with the ads?
No, my parents pay for it, so I just kind of joined the family plan.
Is there anything you're afraid of?
I'm actually afraid of snakes. I think snakes are pretty scary.
Can be old, can be newish, but do you have a favorite TV show of all time?
Favorite TV show of all time is probably All American on Netflix. I like that a lot.
You're going to break the rules of your eating habits and eating healthy. What's your cheat meal?
Cheat meal is probably going to be Canes. I'm a big Canes guy.
You have a dating red flag.
Doesn't like football.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas, because kind of whole family gets together, so it's a really good time for that.
Is there a movie that you can quote along with the movie word for word?
Step Brothers.
Do you have any bad habits?
I guess what a bad habit be like biting my nails.
Yeah, that's mine.
Okay, yeah. I bite my nails a lot.
All right, last one. Who wins the Super Bowl this year?
Green Bay Packers, baby.
All right, Austin, best of luck tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so AJ, now I got to ask you once again, is Austin Romaine still one of your favorite players after he picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl?
Absolutely not. I despise him now.
I thought so.
Gotta love that history.
Austin,
right
if you're out there listening, where'd you go wrong there, my man? Come on.
Hey, he grew up he's a Missouri kid.
Then how come he's not a St. Louis? Well, they're not in St. Louis anymore. But how's he not a Rams fan? Chiefs fan. Yeah. If he was a Chiefs fan, it'd make sense. Green Bay? Come on.
Must have been a big Jordy Nelson guy back in the day. All right, let's take our next break. Let's wrap it up with Ask Us Anything coming up next.
You're in the game on News Radio KMAN.
All right. It is time for some Ask Us Anything here on the game on News Radio KMAN. I came up with a great question the other night that I sent to Mitch, and he gave me the go-to, I guess.
The go-ahead.
The go-ahead. Have you guys ever slept in your car at night?
Yes.
Like overnight?
Yeah, like have you had to spend the night in your car?
I have a couple of times.
Once.
I did once.
Yeah, senior skip day weekend.
When you were in high school?
Yeah, because we were camped out in the pasture.
Gotcha.
Oh.
I woke up about every 90 minutes with leg cramps.
I mean, to think about it, like I've actually probably done it more than a couple of times because in high school we would go camping and sometimes it'd just get too cold. So go into the car, heat up a little bit, and then fall asleep. I was coming back from WrestleMania 27 in Atlanta, GA, the Dirty South, and we decided it was a great idea to just drive back right after the show ended, and I'm falling asleep. So we pull over in this old church parking lot off the interstate in Alabama.
Ooh.
And it's probably 1 a.m., something like that, and slept in there for probably 4 hours, so that's just about overnight. But I've done it in Alabama, and I did it in high school a couple of times because of camping. And there was one time, a friend of mine and I, we decided to try to get these two girls to stay out and hang out all night, and they couldn't. So we were on our own as we found a place to camp for the rest of the night.
Boy, my story is lame in comparison to yours. I got locked out of my house one time.
Oh, geez.
So you just had to sleep in your car until somebody could let you in?
Yeah.
Like a landlord or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
So was this here in Manhattan?
Yeah, this was a couple of years ago.
Oh, gosh. I've never. So luckily, your keys, you had your car unlocked.
No, I locked the car.
Wait, so where'd you sleep on the car?
I slept in the car.
You're confusing me. How'd you get in the car? I thought it was locked.
No, my house was locked.
Yeah. Okay, I understand. Okay.
I had my car keys. I didn't have my house keys.
These are separate key rings?
Yes.
Well, that's amateur hour.
At the time, yes. Now, obviously, now that's different.
Yeah. Yeah, you want to keep those on the same ring.
Yeah.
So if you lose your keys to everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the way you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not just to your house, not just to your car. Let's lose it to everything. Let's really make it a problem.
But yeah, I didn't sleep a lick that night. It was the worst night of my life.
Oh, I'm sure.
Well, because probably you're kicking yourself. How do I do it now?
I was really angry. I was so angry.
No spare key.
Yeah. Well, the spare key was in the apartment.
The main key and the spare key in the apartment.
Makes a lot of sense.
It was a bad day.
That was a tough day. That turned out to be a better story than I thought it would be.
I don't think
you underplayed it.
I don't think it was as good as I thought my story would be kind of lame, but yeah.
Well, I just stayed the night in church parking lot in Alabama at 1 a.m. because I didn't want to drink any coffee because I don't do caffeine, no 5-hour energy drinks, so I just needed a quick snooze and we're good to go.
I thought that was a good question for today.
No, it was a good one. No, it hasn't happened, though, and it's been 13 years since I've had to sleep in my own car.
Man, I'm just thinking about that big back window that Buick had. 2-door. And yet, 1983 model, and yet
Monica never kicked you out to go sleep in the car one night?
No, cars are too small.
Royals baseball is next. Go Cats.